Let's start with the cyber offense. A cyber offense is an illegal activity carried out using computers or the internet. Attackers usually exploit weak security such as poorly configured systems, weak passwords, or software vulnerability to gain unauthorized accesses. So, categories of cybercrime. Cybercrime can be classified in two ways. First, based on the target, such as individuals, property, or organizations. Second, based on whether the attack happens as a single incident or a series of repeated events. So now going to social engineering. Social engineering is a technique where attackers manipulate people instead of attacking computers. They build trust, deceive victims, and convince them to reveal confidential information or perform actions that compromise security. So this image explains the same. So now we are going to see about the human-based social engineering. Human-based social engineering involves direct interaction with people. Attackers may pretend to be an employee or a senior manager or someone else who are already has permission to gain access to sensitive informations. So some common techniques includes calling technical support, shoulder surfing to observe passwords, and dumpster diving, where attackers search discarded documents for useful information. So dumpster diving example. This slide illustrates dumpster diving. Even document thrown into a trash may contain sensitive information such as passwords, account details, or confidential reports. That's why important documents should always be shared before disposal. So computer-based social engineering. So computer-based social engineering uses fake emails on the internet to trick users. A common example is phishing, where fake emails or websites are used to steal user names, password, or other personal informations. So now attackers also uses email attachment and pop-up windows to spread malware. If users click these without verifying their resources, harmful softwares may be installed on the system. So now we are going to see about cyber stalking. Cyber stalking is the repeated use of the internet or digital communication to harass or threaten a person. Stalkers often misuse social media and online platforms to monitor or disturb their victims. So these are the types of stalkers. There are two main types of stalkers. One is online stalkers use the internet to contact or harass victims, while offline stalkers may first gather personal information and then continue stalking through traditional methods. So case reported on cyber stalking. This slide highlights common cyber stalking cases. In many situations, the victim already knows the stalker, such as an ex-partner or colleague. However, cyber stalking can also be carried out by the complete strangers. So, cyber stalkers first collect personal information like names, phone numbers, and email addresses. They then contact the victim through calls or emails to threaten, harass, or repeatedly disturb them. So, now some stalkers post the victim's personal details on the website or subscribe the victim's email to unwanted services. As a result, the victim receives continuous spam calls or emails. So now we are going to see about cybercaf and cybercrimes. Cybercafes are also be misused for cybercrimes. Public computers may contain spyware or keyloggers, and attackers may observe users while they enter password through shoulder surfing. So issues in cybercaf. Study shows that many cybercaf use outdated softwares, unpatched antivirus programs, and weak security measures. This increases the risk of cyber attacks and data theft. So these are the safety tips for CyberCaf. Whenever you use a CyberCaf, always log out after use, clear your browsing history, avoid online banking, use a virtual keyboard if possible, and change your passwords later for better security. So far we discussed about social engineering, cyber stalking, and CyberCaf risk. Next we will learn about attack vectors, zero-day attack, and recent real-world cyber incidents. So it is called attack vector. An attack vector is the path or method used by an attacker to gain unauthorized access to a computer, to a system. It can be through email, websites, malicious softwares, or even by deceiving users. So, attack vectors can be launched in different ways, such as phishing emails, infected attachments, fake websites, viruses, and by misleading users into performing unsafe actions. Understanding these methods help us prevent cyber attacks. This diagram summarizes the different attack vectors. It shows that attackers may use multiple entry points to compromise a system, so users must remain alert while browsing, downloading files, or opening emails. So, zero-day attack. A zero-day attack exploits a software vulnerability that is unknown to the software vendors. Since no security patches is available at the time, attackers can successfully exploit the weakness before it is fixed. So this is the recent zero-day attack. This slide discusses the Microsoft SharePoint zero-day vulnerability identified as CVE 2025-53770. It affected on-premises SharePoint servers and was actively exploited before organizations could fully secure their systems. So in this attack hackers used a specially crafted request to bypass authentication and gain another success. This allowed them to maintain access to the affected servers even after patching in some cases. So here Microsoft attributes these attacks to Group Linen Typhoon, Violet Typhoon, and Storm 2006-03. This shows that advanced cyber attacks are often carried out by organized threat groups. For learning latest cyber threats and vulnerabilities, trusted cybersecurity websites can be used. These resources provide regular updates and on new attacks and security advices. So, in conclusion, to conclude today's session, covered cyber offense, social engineering, cyber stalking, typing, and attack vectors in zero-day attacks. Understanding these concepts helps us recognize cyber threats and apply the right security practices to protect our system data. Thank you.